Hey everybody, welcome to the video. It's Monday, May the 24th, 2021. If you're after news from Orlando, from Florida, from the theme parks, etc., you're in the right place. Today we've got news on COVID stats, vaccination stats. The EU is letting people in who are fully vaccinated with new criteria. I'll explain that. We've got potentially the US and UK borders not being reopened according to Forbes, news on that. We've got Simon Calder's take on that and my take on his take. I've got an update for you from Virgin, BA and TUI, Disney news, Universal news and some weather for you. Okay, let's get cracking. New COVID cases then for the US as a whole on Saturday were 19,639 with Florida top again. The 7-day moving average for the US for new cases was 26,142. Last week this was 33,072, so that's a drop of 21% in the past week. Our next milestone is now 25,391, which was last achieved on June the 18th, 2020. US active cases were 6 million last week and they're now 5.8 million, a fall of 3%. The US 7-day average for deaths is 570 and last week it was 613, a fall of 7%. Into Florida then, new cases in Florida on Saturday were 3,406. The 7-day moving average for new cases in Florida was 3,948 last week. This week that number is 2,677. That's a huge drop of 32%, much better than the US average. Active cases in Florida are now 357,000 and last week they were 375,000, a drop of 5%. The 7-day moving average for deaths in Florida was 52 last week, it's now 59, that's an increase of 13%. That's been pretty consistent in a straight line for the past month or so. We're now looking at our next benchmark of 42, which was achieved on November the 6th, 2020. The positivity rate in Florida as of yesterday was 3.91%, down from 4.41% last week. We've been under 5% now since May the 10th. In Orange County, the positivity rate was 4.6%, the first time under 5% since March the 17th, 2021. Last week, this rate was 5.1%. The number of vaccination doses distributed as of yesterday across the US was 357.3 million. That's an 8-day week, so that's 1.6 million per day. 285.7 million doses have been administered up to yesterday, so that's 1.83 million per day. That's up slightly from last week, which might be due to children between the ages of 12 and 15 now being eligible to get the vaccine. This chart shows the daily number of doses given. Looking at the chart then that shows how different countries are doing for the share of people who have had at least one dose of vaccine, Israel still top with 62.8%, UK 55.3%, Chile 50.1% and Canada has leapt into 4th spot with 48.5% and then the US on 47.9%. Europe still lagging on 28.5%. Florida has gone up from 18th to 16th place for having at least one dose of vaccine, and Florida has remained in 20th place for the share of people who are fully vaccinated. As of yesterday, 49.2% of the population has had at least one dose of vaccine. That's up from 47.4% last week. 39.2% of people are fully vaccinated. That's 2.1% more than last week. It looks pretty remote now that we're going to get to 70% of the population having had at least one dose of vaccination by July the 4th. That was President Joe Biden's next milestone. I think now we should actually be looking at positivity rates. That's coming down now under 5% in Florida as a whole, and it's been like that for a little while now. So I think if we can keep the positivity rate under 5% and we can also get more vaccines in and case numbers come down, then we're in a good place. So this article was published by Forbes earlier this week. It stated that the US to UK travel restrictions wouldn't be lifted at the moment. Reuters referred to the EU easing of travel restrictions. The current main criterion is that there should be no more than 25 new COVID cases per 100,000 people in the past 14 days. The Commission proposed raising the case rate to 100 and the EU ambassadors opted instead for 75. That's a much lower standard than the US CDC has laid out for its travel health notices. In order to get to level 1, a country has to have fewer than 5 cases per 100,000 people in 28 days. The EU equivalent would be 150 cases per 100,000 in 28 days. On May the 11th, I did a video for what the UK would have to do to get to CDC level 1 travel health notice, and I concluded that it was pretty much impossible. If you want to have a look at that video, I'm going to put it up there now and you can have a look and see how I explained all of that. As at May the 9th, and I haven't looked at the figures since then, The UK had 92 cases per 100,000 in the last 28 days. So if you halved that, the UK would have 46 cases per 100,000 in 14 days, just for simplicity. That would easily meet the EU criteria. And if the EU standard is taken up by the US, then that would make a huge difference as to who could go and who couldn't go. In Simon Calder's Q&A this week, he was asked why he thought the US still had a travel ban on the UK. Simon answered that he thought President Biden was simply too busy. As my May the 11th video explained, getting to level 1 doesn't necessarily mean that a country will be allowed in. I agree that the US isn't especially dependent on inbound tourism, so it does look then that it's going to be political will rather than science that's going to get the UK back to the US. The June the 11th meeting between President Biden and Prime Minister Johnson looks to be the place for this announcement to be made. Both countries are still making really good progress in terms of lower case numbers, and higher numbers of vaccines being administered. British Airways has pulled direct flights from June the 14th to the 20th from London Heathrow. That's another week on from last week. It was the 7th to the 13th last week that had been pulled. So they're definitely leaving about a month between date of travel and current date. So if the US and UK governments do strike a deal on the 11th of June, that means that it's going to be approximately the 11th of July-ish when a British Airways plane direct to Orlando will leave the UK. Virgin Atlantic is still scheduled to fly from Heathrow on July the 1st. Upper class is sold out on the 10:30 flight. The flight from Manchester is also showing, and again, upper class is sold out. TUI now seem to have pulled all their flights in 2021 to Orlando. The first flight I can find now for TUI is into Orlando Melbourne International starting on March the 7th, 2022. I am due to go on a tour to Melbourne International sometime in June, so I'm hoping to bring you a video on that and what the experience is going to be like for you guys who are going to fly into Melbourne next year. If you could do me a favour in the comments, please could you let me know if you've been cancelled on a TUI flight for some time this year, or if you haven't. And if you wouldn't mind, if you go onto the TUI site, if you are booked to them and you haven't been cancelled for 2021, just please have a look at the TUI site and see if you can get anything different to me, because I was a bit shocked when I couldn't get anything for this year at all. Into some Disney news then. We did our first live stream on Monday evening from Epcot. It was a 2-hour stream. I'll put that up there now. If you missed that, you can catch up with it there. You can see what it was like without masks in a Disney park for the first time since COVID started way back last year. So as Disney starts to get back to normal, no masks, the relaxation stations in Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios have been discontinued. So that means, I guess, that Indiana Jones could come back to Hollywood Studios, hopefully very, very soon. The Tower of Terror and Splash Mountain started filling every row of ride vehicles a couple of weeks ago. And this week, Ride of the Resistance got the same treatment. Plexiglass is still there for now. Pass holders got an email last week from Disney which starts off in an upbeat fashion, but unfortunately contains another small punch in the gut further down. AP holders will no longer get a free Magic Band, but we get a discount though, and that's really nice. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad will be under refurbishment for the week of June 7th to the 13th. Some Universal news: the COVID boards at the rides have now been amended. They've been stuck over to say that hand sanitizer is available rather than team members squirting sanitizer onto your hands now. Much to my horror, that Hogwarts Express is now seating different parties in the same compartment. That's bad news for me. I don't even like sitting opposite people on a bus, so this is not something I like, and I would have rather it stayed as it was, but it's sign of the times and it's progress, I guess. Looking at the Walt Disney World park availability calendar then for May, there's no availability at all for theme park tickets or resort guests. Only Epcot is available for annual pass holders. For June there are 14 days already which are sold out for theme park tickets and resort guests. For the remaining days only Epcot is available. For annual pass holders it's pretty good, apart from June the 5th. The worst day is June the 11th. In July, theme park ticket holders and resort guests, worst day is July the 4th, Independence Day. For annual pass holders it's just Magic Kingdom on July the 4th that is unavailable. August and September is all green for theme park tickets and resort guests. For annual pass holders, September the 30th is not available for Magic Kingdom as we roll up to the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. In October, Magic Kingdom and Epcot sold out for theme park tickets and resort guests for the 1st. Magic Kingdom also unavailable on October the 31st. Annual pass holders only have Animal Kingdom left to visit on October the 1st. After that, it's green for everybody. Okay, the weather It's going to be very hot towards the end of this week, up to 97, and a couple of days, other days this week is going to be 96. So if you come into Orlando, do bring your cooling towels and plenty of water and a hat. Okay, that is it. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. The algorithm loves the thumbs up, spreads it further and further to people. If you're new or you're old and you like this kind of stuff, then please do consider joining us, subscribing to us. It will help the channel a lot as well. We're up to, I think we've got 175 subs left to get to 3,000 now. That would be a significant milestone for me, 3,000. And I'll be back next Sunday with more news, or next Monday with more news. I am going to get this Atlanta airport video up, which tells you how to get from international terminal to all the other terminals in Atlanta if you're flying indirect. Okay, have a great week. I'll see you guys very soon. Until then, see ya. Bye bye.